How to increase your velocity by training your muscle synergies. In this video, you guys will learn how I help my athletes increase their velocity through training their muscle synergies, teaching the body to move as a whole instead of isolated functions. Too many athletes are sold into thinking that bench pressing, back squatting, and huge numbers in the lift will have a direct correlation to velocity on the field, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. Keep in mind, however, that back squatting and benching aren't necessarily bad lifts, but everything has its time and its place. The issue falls into that it is the number one prescribed remedy for velocity in the industry. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Anthony Rodriguez. I run an online performance training company, Versatile Athletics, where I've helped over 100 plus athletes just like you increase their velocity and move pain free while getting the recognition that they deserve. What are muscle synergies, you may ask? Muscle synergies refers to the coordinated activation of groups of muscles to produce movement. Instead of isolating one single muscle, we focus on how multiple muscles work together to generate power and efficiency in athletic movements. This approach not only enhances performance, but also reduces the risk of injury. Why is it important? It's literally the answer to how your body coordinates all the muscles to be able to move functionally. An example, when you pitch, you don't only use the arms and then the legs, your entire body is in connection and harmony, working as one whole to complete the demand of the sport. And that's important for you to know next time your coach tells you to get a lower body lift in the day after you pitch, since your upper body is tired. If you've been pitching for a while now, you're smart enough to know that your shoulder is not the only thing that's sore, but also the back and the glute and the hamstrings. You see where I'm going with this? That's also why you guys squat, bench, deadlift, all done in the sagittal plane, meaning up and down, and then struggle to rotate the body in the transverse plane or even side to side in the pitch and delivery, which then has you questioning why you're not being explosive after moving larger weight in the gym. I'm sorry to break it to you. Your central nervous system optimizes for the selection of muscle synergies, not isolated muscles. You're teaching your body to work parts after parts like a car and then hoping for it to just magically learn how to work as a whole. How do you fix this in the gym? Let's talk about the 4 key muscle subsystems that are crucial for functional movement: the deep longitudinal sling, the posterior oblique sling, the anterior oblique sling, and the lateral subsystem or sling. The deep longitudinal sling is responsible for transmitting force from the trunk to the ground. It is consistent of muscles and tissues like erector spinae, thoracolumbar fascia, sacrotuberous ligament, bicep femoris, another word for hamstrings, tibials, fibulas, psoas, and the intrinsic core stabilizers. So the activation of all these muscles assists and aid in proper trunk stability that we need as a pitcher or position player to be able to transfer our energy into more power. And obviously you guys are seeing this video here with Paul Skeens. The longitudinal sling is just responsible for us even just standing, period. And it is very responsible for us keeping proper trunk stability as we keep riding on within the mount. It even goes as far as stabilizing the SI joint and relieving lower back pain. Here's an example of an exercise that trains the deep longitudinal sling. Right, in this exercise, I'm obviously incorporating my hamstring. I have a contralateral man pulling me on the other side, which is also keeping my psoas, my intrinsic core stabilizing muscles, to also activate in conjunction with the hamstrings and the glutes as well. The posterior oblique sling works synergistically with the deep longitudinal system. It is largely responsible for rotation in the transverse plane. Very important for you athletes that struggle to rotate. It normally consists of the lats and the contralateral glutes to work together. So if you guys are looking at this picture, this is the posterior oblique sling. Obviously, it carries on from the contralateral lat to the glute on the other side. Just before heel strike, the lats and the contralateral glutes are eccentrically loaded, which adds pre-tension to the entire subsystem before weight bearing. Now, what that looks like when we're pitching, when he is about to get into that front foot landing position, we can see how he creates that stretch shortening cycle of the hips opening up and then the trunk closing up. That is the exact work of the posterior oblique sling and the anterior oblique sling, which we will get into right now. But it is essentially eccentrically loading him to get that separation at front foot strike. Here's an example of an exercise to train the posterior oblique sling. So in this exercise right here, as you guys are seeing, I'm also working on the glute itself. And as I'm pulling myself up, I'm doing a band pull down, which is also targeting the lats on one side while the glutes are being worked on the other side. The anterior oblique sling is similar to the posterior oblique sling. The only difference is that it works in the anterior part of the body, meaning in the front side, consisting of muscles like the internal external obliques, the adductor complex, and the hip external rotators. Applying it to the delivery itself, at front foot strike, the obliques and the contralateral adductors contract in order to rotate the body and release the baseball through the front leg. So again, after the deep longitudinal system is in effect, obviously when you're riding, you're keeping that good trunk stability. The posterior oblique sling is helping you create that shortening cycle effect, or that eccentric load of the trunk turning as the hips are opening. And now the anterior oblique sling now catches that eccentric load and helps the body fire and release the ball through. As we're watching here, should make this a lot bigger. So again, with all that work here, now the anterior oblique sling, again, the adductors, the obliques here, they all contract to be able to bring and fold that trunk into rotation. Here's an example of an anterior oblique sling exercise. Now in this exercise, this is more kind of an isometric hold. What I'm doing here, I'm doing a power press with lateral walks. And what's happening here is that as I'm holding the band outwards, I'm contracting the contralateral adductor, which is like just the adductor on the other side, along with the obliques as well. So it's one way to train it. There's many other different way to train it, just as every other muscle sling that I've been showing you guys here as well. Finally, the lateral subsystem is composed of the gluteus medius, tensor fascia lata, adductor complex, and the quadratus lumborum, all of which participate in the frontal plane. This is important because not only do we need to know how to rotate our bodies to deliver the pitch, but the majority of the throw happens side to side. So you must become strong enough to be able to support your weight in those positions. Looking into this video, literally more than half of the delivery time happens side to side, and it is something that we must truly strengthen. Here's an example of an exercise for the lateral subsystem. Now this one is just a little bit more advanced. You could literally just go as much as just doing a lateral lunge. There's a lot more other ways, again, to keep advancing and regressing, but this is one of my favorite ones for that, which is just do a lateral lunge to a crossover step up. Overall, these four systems are more simplified versions. We can get a lot more in depth with them. This is literally fascia, just anatomy trains. There's a lot more different things within the body that we didn't discover, but this is like a 2-day video. So that's another talk for another day. However, the biggest takeaway is to realize that the human body simultaneously coordinates these subsystems during activity. Each system individually and collectively contributes to the production of efficient movement by accelerating, decelerating, and dynamically stabilizing the human muscular system during motion. In all said, doing isolated workouts targeting one specific part of the body will not help you convert that into velocity in the long run. Looking at Paul Skeen's video, his whole entire body is in conjunction and harmony with everything that he's trying to complete. Right. So just to give you guys a better idea, think of this in a baseball team aspect. The team is your body. Each starting player, which is 9, is an individual subsystem of the body. Now, what would happen if each player just trained by themselves and just showed up to the games and all of a sudden is now expected to play in collaboration with the rest of the team? It would be a complete disaster. You guys will not know what plays to run, who to throw to, nor will anyone be on the same page. Heck, you guys might not even know how to turn a double play. Are you following along with what I'm saying? That's exactly why you train the whole team in one setting, so everyone is in conjunction and they know the role they need to play. It's the same exact thing that you're struggling with in the gym and your performance. Your muscles just don't know how to function optimally to produce force. So hopefully this all makes sense and shed a bigger light to why isolating muscles in the gym for you is not translating to velocity. The goal of the gym is not just to exercise, but to train your body in a way that will help increase your performance on the field. And I know this was a lot of information for you guys, but while y'all can sit here and try to figure it out on your own, it is a difficult task for you to master, which is going to take a valuable time away from you. So if you want to go faster and get the help you need, book in a call with me and we can discuss about your situation and see how I may help you. If not, just keep scrolling through my content where you will learn a lot of valuable information. However, if you're really tired of exercising in the gym and not seeing it translate over to the field, then book in a call with me and let's discuss where you're actually stuck at and if you're a good fit for my program. So again, guys, no more isolated training. Train your body as a whole, and I'll see you guys on to the next one.